focus. Okay, I had a sales activity that Paul asked me to do. I was going to present, but with the beginning of the year, everybody's talking about goals and stuff like that. Everybody's year usually restarts the first. So I want to talk about focus. And if everybody, please, if you have a notebook, pull it out. Take notes, because this is important. I literally wrote this up for this meeting. Because if you can take the things I'm telling you in this and apply them, it'll change your life. It's that important. So, how important is focus? Paul, have you ever shot a bow and arrow before?
Yeah. Long time ago.
Okay, so if I was going to hold a target up like this and say, hit the target, do you think you hit it from here?
Probably not, but it would be one of those iffy things.
Okay, so do you think it's a good chance that you hit it? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, so now if I took a step back here, are you more likely or less likely to hit it?
Less likely, yeah.
So step back here, are you less likely or more likely to hit it?
Less likely, yeah.
Now if I went like this, instead, are you more likely or less likely to hit it? Is it possible or not?
Not possible.
Not at all. Why is that?
Because you can't even see the target.
Because you have no target to even aim at. Right, correct. So now if I was going to, Steve, do me a favor, hold this up. Hold it up in the air. Now, Paul, if I went behind you and I held a gun to your head and said hit the target, how much more important is that for you to be able to hit that target?
Really important.
Really important, right. So when I'm talking about focus, guys, I'm talking about clear and compelling vision. Okay, it's not just a random, a random way to be able to say I've got some kind of goal that's out there. Okay, a lot of people when they're talking about I want to lose weight, so they'll look in the mirror and just keep on talking about, yeah, I'm focused on losing weight, but they don't have the actions behind it to lose weight. They don't go to the gym, they don't watch what they eat, but they keep on looking in the mirror going, yeah, I'm focused. I'm focused on how fat I am every single time I look in the mirror. When it comes to vision and focus also, it has to be focus on what you want, not what you don't want. A lot of us focus on the negative instead of the positive. The positive things are going to be the things that are going to be able to change your life. So, for example, like a lot of the times bad things happen to us, and if we let it affect us, it's a domino effect. How many people have had a bad day from beginning to end? And it just keeps on getting worse and worse until finally at 3 o'clock you're like, I just want to go to bed and just restart until tomorrow. How many people have had a day like that? Raise your hand. Now our brains are amazing at doing one thing at a time. Okay, there's a lot of people that say, I'm a multitasker. I can do multiple things at one time. Your brain doesn't work that way. Your brain's a checklist. It's amazing. You hear the saying that you can be an expert at one thing or good at multiple things, right? So I'm going to prove this. I want everybody to close your eyes for a second. I'm going to count to 3. When I count to 3, I want everybody to look around and find all the things that are brown. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Look around. Everything is brown. Everything is brown. Everything is brown. Start counting how many things you see that are brown. Okay, stop. Close your eyes. How many things did you see that are red? 2. Okay, so you probably picked out a lot less things that are red because I was telling you to focus on brown. Okay, so that's the way. But once again, you got to focus on one thing, and we're picking up the other things. So if you're laser focused on something, you're going to pick them up immediately. What other thing would you do? Dan, do me a favor. Flip your page over. Are you right-handed or left-handed? Left. You're left-handed. Okay. I want you with your left hand to sign your first name. Perfect. Now switch hands. With your right hand, I want you to sign your last name. Okay. Pretty good but legible, right? Now what I want you to do is hold this pen with your right hand, hold that pen with your left hand, sign your name at the same time, your first and last name. And see if you can do it. Don't stop and start and stop. I mean, just go at it like you normally would. Right? So your brain can't work that way. You can't do 2 things at one time. Thanks for playing along. So if you want to change, an area in your life, you need to realize 3 things. You need to realize that focus creates meaning. Write that down. Focus creates meaning. Meaning creates emotion, and emotion creates action. I'm going to say that again. Focus creates meaning. Meaning creates emotion, and emotion creates action. Focus creates meaning means it's the law of attraction. I've trained on the law of attraction many times before, but more or less, just to put it in simple terms, think of the story of Aladdin and the lamp. Okay, Aladdin has this lamp, he rubs it, genie comes out, and the genie always says, "Your wish is my command." Okay, the universe works the same way. Now you can put whatever label. I always like to say universe because it's universal. I mean, there's a lot of people that believe different things, but you can put whatever tag you want on it. If it's God, if it's your guardian angel, if you don't believe in anything, it's luck. If you believe in it or you don't believe in it, the universe doesn't care. It works the same way no matter what.
Amen.
So,
Very true.
my example. So the reason I want to do this also is because something happened to me this past week. My boss had me focus on something different that at first I didn't want to do. I didn't want to put any energy behind it. Didn't think it was going to work. So I fought and fought it and fought it. Until finally, I said, you know what? Okay, you're right. We're going to do it this way. So as soon as I changed my thought process from going after these tours or these little office deals to going after big business, that day I lined up the Cincinnati Bar Association and Cincinnati Bell on that day. So as soon as I changed my focus, the universe lined up for me and put these other things in front of me, which are going to pay off huge. Okay. Also think of an example of what is your goal? Say if your goal was to make $100,000 this year. Okay. Don't focus on the number, but focus on what they would do for your life. Think if you made $100,000 this year. Some people that's astronomical. Some people are like, no, we're never gonna be able to do it. But if you did, if that was your goal, how would it change your life? Think about it. How would you live? Would it change the neighborhood you live in? Would it change the schools your kids go to? Would it change the decisions you make today? Now, all these questions I just asked, what are they? If you think about it. Where you live, how you'd feel, all these things are emotions, okay? If you can create a memory and put an emotion behind it, you'll remember it forever. It'll be burned inside of you. How many people remember where they were the day of 9/11 happened? How many people remember exactly what you were doing that day? And why is that? Emotion. You put that emotion behind it and it burned it in your head forever. There's a lot of experiences like that. The day you got married, when you had if you have children, things like that, they get stuck in your memory forever. So if we can control our emotions, we can control our actions. Okay? If you can control your emotions, you can control your actions because emotions control your state. Write that down. Emotions control your state. Now, about a month ago, I trained on states. Being in a right state of mind, more or less. There are two invisible emotions that control us. Okay? It's your state and it's fear. There's two visible emotions that control us. It's state, what state of mind you're in, and fear. Okay, your state, get excited about what you're after. So if you have a goal and you put your emotion and you're excited about it, by focusing on this, it should pull you towards your goal, not push you. Nobody ever wants to be pushed. So this should be such a goal that has such an effect on you that it's pulling you towards it every single day. It's making you do whatever you need to do right this second to get you closer to that goal. Let me ask you a question. Somebody's in a bad mood right now. How quickly can you change your state? Immediately, like that, right? So there's something that I learned over at Tony Robbins. It's called the 90-second rule. Okay? If you're having a bad day, own it. Take 90 seconds, bitch and complain about it, and then let it go. Okay? Because there's nothing that you can do in that moment in a negative state that can give you a positive result. So, 90-second rule. Keep that in mind for the next time you're having a bad day. We all go through them. We're all human. But if you can take it, own it for 90 seconds, and get rid of it, it'll change your life. Also, when I'm talking about, always being in a positive frame of mind, it's whatever you focus on is what's going to drive you. Where focus goes, energy flows. If I'm walking on a balance beam, and I keep on thinking, I'm going to fall, I'm going to fall, I'm going to fall, I'm going to fall, what's going to happen? You're going to fall. Because that's where my attention, that's where my focus is going to. So, when you're thinking about your goals, when you think about where you're going, always try to think of it in a positive frame of mind to get laser focused on where you want to go and what you want to do. Where focus goes, energy flows. Fear itself is the other one I was talking about. Fear is one of our most primal emotions that we have. Okay, it has its benefit, but you can't let fear control your life. A lot of people go day by day that they're afraid of doing different things. If there's something you're afraid of, overcome it. I've got a bracelet that I wear that says Firewalker on it. Okay, some people know this story, but when I was over Tony Robbins, I actually walked across 15 feet of burning hot coals that are 1,500 degrees barefoot. Terrified when I did it. I thought it was all a mind thing. I thought it was going to be, some kind of trick. It wasn't. They were hot. But, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? So now, but here's the thing. I didn't just take my shoes off and walk across it. I had to prime myself to get into this mindset. I had to be trained by a professional that's done it before to learn how to do it. And I also had to change my state to think, I can do this, I got this. And then the euphoria that came after I got to the end was amazing. And I still get chills about it. So, but even like, how many people have a fear of heights in here? Raise your hand. Okay? Imagine if you went skydiving. Okay? Are you just gonna get in a plane and jump out? No. Well, the first thing, the plane itself is gonna terrify you. But if you have an experienced instructor that you trust and it can teach you exactly what to do, you pull this thing, the parachute comes out, and then when you land and you overcome that fear, the power that you have over that fear is amazing. Now, emotions create action. Okay? Once you have once you have focus and create once you have focus and create that compelling emotion, now you need to plan it. Now you need to know what your roadmap is to get there. So, if you're, for example, like I said, the $100,000 example. So, if your $100,000 goal just seems astronomical right now, maybe you have the resources. Maybe you have no way of getting there. Okay? If you still make that your goal and you're laser focused on it, it will happen. The universe will line up and be able to give it to you. But how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So you got to break this down in this smallest common denominator. So if you're thinking, okay, if it's $100,000 for the year, I got to make $25,000 per quarter, $8,334 per month, $2,000 a week. But you have to be flexible with this. So it doesn't mean that if I don't bring home $2,000 in a week, I'm just going to give up on it. That means you have to go try even harder to get to it the next week until finally you can hit your goal. For example, when I was buying a house, I had no resources at the time, no idea how I was going to buy one, but that was my goal. I made a vision board. I said, this is a house I would like. It's going to be in a certain town, but I put it up on Facebook and held myself accountable to it. My wife was like, what are you doing? Everybody's going to be like, what's going on with this? I'm like, no, we have to, put it out there, throw it out to the universe. And I said it was going to be by July of 2015. I think it's 2015 that we signed the house. By May of 2015, we were signing the papers. When I made the goal, I had no way of getting there. I had no clue how I was going to do it. But once again, I had put it out there and had that be my vision. I was focused on it. And then finally, your decisions shape your destiny. How many people in here have made a decision in the past 5 or 10 years that if you did something differently at that point, that crossroads, your life would be 100% different right now? Just about everybody, right? Sometimes the decisions we make don't just affect us, but it possibly affect people that are around us that we don't even realize. For example, like, what if a random woman didn't refuse to sit in the back of the bus back in 1955? How many things would be different right now? What if an unknown director listened to the people around him, didn't create a small sci-fi film that everybody called a kid's movie back in 1977? How would the world be different now?
Star Wars.
Yep. I mean, and then what if I personally decided to stay in Buffalo and didn't take the leap of faith to come here to Cincinnati? How would that affect my family? How would that affect the Cincinnati market? How would that affect my employees that I have now, or my bosses, or our market? It's these different things that we make a decision on, and now my destiny, now my life is better because of that decision I decided to make. Okay. I want to end with this quick story. One day, a small child, Thomas Edison, came home from school and gave a paper to his mother. He said to his mother, my teacher gave me this paper and told me only for you to read it. What does it say? Her eyes welled up with tears as she read the letter out loud to her child. She said, your son is a genius. The school is too small for him and doesn't have enough teachers to train him. Please teach him yourself. Many years after Edison's mother had died, he became one of the greatest inventors of the century. One day he was going through a closet. He found the folded letter that his old teacher wrote to his mother on that day. He opened it. The message on the letter said, your son is mentally deficient. We cannot let him attend our school anymore. He's expelled. Edison became emotional reading it, and one day in his diary he wrote, Thomas Edison, the mentally deficient child whose mother turned him into the genius of the century. A positive word of encouragement can help change somebody's identity. So what if his mother told him exactly what was on that letter? How would all of our lives be different right now? If you think of it that way. Now, in good faith, I can't tell you that this letter was ever written, because it actually wasn't. But the story behind it actually is partially true. His mother he was a poor student, and when the schoolmaster called, his mother was furious and took him out of school, and she taught him herself. And then he said many years later that my mother was the making of me. She was so true and so sure of me that I felt I had someone to live for, and someone I must not disappoint. So at an early age, he started showing a fascination with mechanical things and chemical experiments. So because, once again, the story's partially true, but once again, it's the moral behind it. You know, just that one change could have just changed all of our lives around us. So when it comes to, and please, everybody, if you don't have a goal, set one today. Because it could change your life. It could just totally change everything that you have in you. For your family, for your connections, for everything. Just if anybody has any questions, you feel free to let me know. But does anybody have any questions for me? Go ahead, Ron.
In reference to goals, I know you know this, I just can't tell you the exact numbers, but Harvard did a study about people who set goals. The percentage of revenue in the world, like 97% of the revenue was earned by 3% of the people, and those were the people who set goals, or something along those lines, right?
I'm sure that is correct. I mean,
that comes from one of the studies quite some time ago by.
That was Harvard University.
Yeah, it was coming out of Harvard University. It was published by Think and Grow Rich and Napoleon Hill
Right.
for the very first time.
That's right.
That's the first time.
the start of all achievement is a goal. So sometimes our companies set up goals for us, but if you're self-employed, guess what? You're the one that has to set that up for you. You don't have any number that's that. So it's even more important for people who are self-employed in here to be able to figure that out for themselves so they can hit the goals they need to hit to A, stay in business, and B, make money. Go ahead.
I remember a guy, Pat, I worked for maybe 20 years ago, and I still remember this. He always had, whatever your goal was, he would double. And his comment was always aim high, miss high.
Yep.
And it was just interesting because, he would toss out just big goals, but in the end, if you missed, you still ended up higher than your own personal goal would have been. But I mean, 20 years later, I still remember that aim high, miss high.
Yep. And Napoleon Hill or W. Clement Stone said, if you aim for the moon, you might hit a star. Same concept. Always have an aim high goal for yourself. Anybody else?
Just, I guess, a comment, the brown and the red comment.
Yes.
I remember a professor in college, sort of the stadium style seating. I don't know, maybe 40, 50 kids in the classroom. He picked a handful of kids to stand up, and it was probably halfway through the semester. It's, again, what you see, but you don't really see. He says, I will give every one of you, any one of you, an A for the class from here on out, if you can tell me what color the back wall of the room was. And the thing about it, you come in and out of the classroom 3 times a week, not one kid could guess what color the back wall was. And it's just sometimes there are things in front of you that if you don't plan for the unknown and you don't take time to stop and think about things, you walk right past them. And it was just interesting to see them guessing colors, but again, just something you see all the time.
And even if it's the goals you wrote down, those 3 things that Paul asked you to do. Even if it's not, if you focus on one of those 3 things and put everything you have behind it, put the emotion behind it, find out exactly what that's going to do for you financially. Find out how that financial benefit is going to be able to affect you, your life, your family, and everybody around you. Once again, it's going to pull you towards be able to hit one of these goals that you wrote down, and you didn't even realize it.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you, thank you very much.